Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, which is about the diversity survey and how to report your organization's data. My name is Dana James Edwards. I am the head of FIR here at Action Sustainability and the Supply Chain Sustainability School. And I'm being joined today by my colleague, Liban Ahmed, who is a data and business analyst also at the school and who spends quite a lot of time working on the benchmarking and the report. It's our pleasure to be here with you today. Now, I just said to you that I am head of FIR, and you might be like, FIR trees, what is FIR? In case you haven't come across us before, FIR stands for Fairness, Inclusion and Respect, and that is the way that we talk about inclusion here at Action Sustainability and the school. So it's all about making workplaces better for everyone. It's about finding ways to make sure that people are respected. The FIR program has been in existence since 2013, and it has grown miles and miles. We now have over 550 resources, and I'm talking about things like toolbox talks that are short and snappy, 15 minutes or less. We have e-learning modules that could be up to 90 minutes. There are checklists and guides to help you embed good practice in your organization, and also a wide range of case studies, because it is always amazing to learn from each other. In addition to these, we also host conferences and events, and at the end of the session, I'll be back to tell you a little bit more about some of these. But enough about FIR and the FIR program. You are here to learn things about diversity data benchmarking, and I'm happy to share with you today's agenda. We'll start off by some context and scene setting. We'll talk about what the survey is and why it's important. Then Liban will show you how to report your data. I'm excited for that. I've never actually seen it live, so today I'm learning as well, which is really exciting. And then we'll talk about the insights that you get for your organization after you submit your data and how you can use them to take your organization to the next level when it comes to inclusion and when it comes to diversity. We cannot wait to share this content with you. So with no further ado, let's get into what is the survey and why it's important. And to help us talk about this, I'd love to share a little bit of background around the survey. So the survey was initiated in 2011 by National Highways. Now, initially, they collaborated with approximately 15 volunteers or so who provided workforce profile data in Excel. And the demand for that data grew really rapidly. It was driven by people's desire to really discuss the data and to share their quality issues and concerns, but also solutions to be able to learn from each other. Then moving forward until 2018, the number of participating suppliers continued increasing and increasing, and that sort of led to the need for more standardized metrics to enable data collection for comparison. Now, before this, organizations were reporting data without specific guidance, and we thought, why aren't we collaborating on this? So in 2019, a collaborative effort began between the major transport clients, National Highways, Network Rail, TfL and HS2. Their goal was to learn more about their supply chains, but also to do some benchmarking for the industry and to promote improvement. And they thought that we would get further as an industry if we all worked together. So the very first collaborative exercise was in 2021, and it involved us, the Supply Chain Sustainability School, and we introduced online submissions. And this was the initial iteration of the diversity survey. Just for some context, the diversity survey platform, which you will see today, streamlines how we collect that data for suppliers and also provides really clear dashboards that showcase industry benchmarks based on the aggregated data that we have available. So the dashboards, and you'll see this later again, not only allows organizations to evaluate their performance against the industry, benchmark year after year, but it also includes ONS data as a benchmark. And this year, ONS working age data, which is even more precise and accurate. That's from the Office of National Statistics. From census data, so that's for the UK population as a whole. So it's great to be able to have that comparator for us all. So it lets organizations compare themselves with the UK average, but you can also on the dashboard filter by sector, which is really important. I am sure that you will all agree that that is way better than submitting your data just only in Excel, as it was when this whole initiative started. So moving forward to today. Our diversity data benchmarking survey and report is the largest in the construction and built environment industry, and this is something that I feel especially proud of. When I joined the organization back in January of this year, so yes, I'm a newbie, which is why I've never seen the tool in action before today. My first job was to read this report and to provide my feedback, and it was an absolutely brilliant way to start. It shaped my understanding of the industry. It helped me get to grips with who is here, where we need action, and where we can evolve the FIRB program to help, which is really important. And the brilliant thing about the report today is that it's moved on. There's new sectors. We've expanded from just collecting for the transport sector. We have almost 40 sectors ranging from aviation to real estate that this report covers. Now, the Construction Leadership Council, or the CLC, one of their major objectives is for a common measuring system to try and form a new inclusive industry, a more inclusive one. Our survey was built with these goals in mind, and standardizing our targets and our metrics to align really means that we can summarize well, we can create better and richer insights, and we can understand what steps we need to take to be able to move our industry forward. What I am saying to you is that the survey and the report that comes from the survey is important for us and the industry. The more data we have, the better a picture that we're able to create, the more we're able to understand the industry, and the better we are able to act. To put it another way, imagine that you were on a journey, but you had no idea where your start point was, where you want to get to in the end, or even where you are on the journey as it moves forward. Without reliable data, we cannot create truly fair, inclusive, or respectful workplaces. We want to collect this data firstly to help us identify issues and trends. We need to uncover what the real challenges are, and we need more than anecdotal evidence. We need clarity and an objective view, and the survey helps with that. The second thing we need is to be able to take evidence-led action. So we need to be, as an industry, making decisions that are based on data rather than assumptions, right? We want impactful interventions that are targeted so we can really get to those results we want to. Data helps with that. We also want to be able to measure progress. So tracking progress is much harder without data. Data allows us to assess whether our inclusion efforts are making a difference and to adjust our strategies accordingly. It is best practice, and it unlocks benefits like a more diverse workforce, innovation, and employee engagement. So the survey is really important. And so your takeaway from today and why you should do it is really just this: better data is better action. And that's why we are encouraging all organizations, large and small, across all tiers to take part in next year's survey. We are really pleased to see you here as a first step to joining our effort to get this data. By feeding into the survey, you will strengthen our picture of the industry and your sector and help us to build better insights, to shape more targeted support, but you will also be demonstrating your organization's individual commitment to fairness, inclusion, and respect, which is also really important. Together and with stronger, more complete data, we can drive the change that our sector needs to see. And so now I've told you a little bit about the survey. I've told you about why you should do it. I'm going to hand over to Liban for a little bit of the how you can go about doing it and how best you can report your data.
Hi guys, thank you so much, Dana, for providing that useful and important background into the survey. I just want to introduce myself again. So my name's Liban Ahmed. I'm a data and business analyst at Action Sustainability, and I'm one of the people heading the survey up this year. So I'm just sharing my screen so I can show you how you can put your data in effectively. So hopefully everyone can see my screen all right. I'm currently showing you the landing page of the diversity survey, which is available at diversity.sustainabilitytool.com. This is the main page, and from here you can access all the support resources we've created for you, and you can also create your own supplier account by clicking on the Create a Supplier Account button below the login box. Now let's start by going through all the support resources available on the landing page. To access the resources, you'll just need to click the section titled Measure and Report Your Organization's Diversity Data. Once you click on this, you'll be taken to our landing page, and if you scroll a little bit down, you will see that we've created bite-sized videos. So these are very short, easy to follow videos on how to register, how to report, and how to navigate your dashboard. If you scroll a little bit more down, you'll be able to see that we have guides for you to download and will assist you through the process. So for companies with over 250 employees, so that's your current employees and your voluntary leavers combined, you'll need to submit your data via the logs, which I'll show you how to do shortly. But here you can download the full metrics list, which is a document that includes all of the metrics in the report and also the logs that you need to upload your data via if you have more than 250 employees. The light metric list is for companies with fewer than 250 employees. If this is your first time collecting diversity data, I really recommend downloading the duplicable survey. This template can be sent to your employees to gather ED&I data. You can also download the FAQ document, which should answer most questions about the diversity survey. If you still need help, please email us at info@sustainabilitytool.com. If you would like to sign up for our other webinars, which are just like this one, please feel free to do so. You can register through here. It will just take you to the school page to sign up. We also have free FAIR resources to help build your understanding around fairness, inclusion, and respect. Now I'm just going to go back to the home screen to show you how to create a supplier account. So from the landing page, you'll just need to click create a supplier account, and then you'll be taken to this page here where you just need to fill in the required details. So that will just mean your name, your email address, a password, and your company name. So I'm just gonna fill it in. So, oops. And then when it comes to your company name here, when entering your company name, please avoid acronyms or suffixes. For example, if I was filling this out, I work for Action Sustainability, so I would put in the full legal name of my company, Action Sustainability. I wouldn't put in AS, which is short for Action Sustainability. And this is important that you do this because it will help us correctly identify your account in the future. Once you click I'm not a robot and you put in your password and click register, an email verification link will be sent to your email, and all you have to do is verify your account, and then you'll be able to log in. Now I'm just going to log in and show you what your report looks like. So this is your reporting interface, and it's structured into 4 steps to keep the process simple and efficient. So step 1 is your company information. So you will just need to click the blue button to begin, and you'll see that a pop-up box will appear. When filling out this section, you can select more than one option for many of the questions here. For example, if you were, filling out your sector, for example, let's say aviation, let's say I work in building infrastructure and civil engineering, for example. If I make a mistake, that's okay. I can just select the X to remove the current selection like that. So, yeah. And then you just need to select your clients from the list below. So I'll just select some clients. And then any contractors, for example. And then please select the organizations you're a member of. There are a few here. If your organization is typically a contractor or consultant, I'm going to go for contractor. What tier you are, I'm going to go for tier 3. Where your headquarters are located, in which locations your organization operates in, and then if you completed the diversity survey last year. So that's a yes or no question. I'm going to go for yes. So now we're on company size. Company size is your current employees plus your voluntary leavers. So I'm going to say I've got less than 10 employees. I've got 4 current employees, and I've got 4 voluntary leavers. And what you would see straight away is that the coverage of data box will auto-populate based on your entries for your current employees and your voluntary leavers. Once you're happy with everything that you've put in here, the only thing you need to do is click save, and your company information will be stored. Okay. Now to go on to step 2 and 3. So step 2 and 3 is all about uploading your data. So if your organization has more than 250 combined employees plus voluntary leavers, you must upload data via steps 2 and 3. If you have fewer than 250 employees, you may skip to step 4 and enter your data manually. However, we recommend completing steps 2 and 3 for easier input and better data quality. So just to go into step 2, which is your current employees. So here you can input data line by line using the drop downs that you can see here. Or what you could do is input your data via the template upload. So to get access to the template, you'll just need to click the yellow download button here, and that will download the template for you. I've done that previously, and it's all ready for us. So I'll just show you how that looks like. So you can see that the current employee log has 3 sheets. The first sheet here is just instructions on how to input your data. The second sheet, the current employee log. So this is where you enter your data. And then the third sheet is a list of all the valid input options. As you're putting through your data, you might realize that your data might use slightly different terms than what's on the third sheet, which is the input values. And what you need to do is you'll need to edit them to match what's on the third sheet. So a quick tip here is use the Control F function, and that will allow you to find and replace those inputs that don't match the ones on the third sheet. I'm going to just show you one that I previously filled out. So I just put some dummy data in so I can show you how it looks like. And I just want to say that if you don't collect certain data, for example, let's say disability, that's perfectly okay. But what we need you to do is use the unknown option. So just click on the drop down. You can see the unknown option. Please don't use the prefer not to say. The prefer not to say option is for people who have chosen not to provide this info at an individual level. I also want to let you know that the last column, annual salary, is not required. So if you're uncomfortable, disclosing this data, you can just leave it blank. The next thing you need to do is you need to save the current employee log as a single CSV file. So what do I mean by this? I mean, once you're happy with your data, you'll just first of all need to delete the first sheet, which is the instruction sheet. So I'll just delete that. And then I'll just need to delete the input value sheet. And then what I need to do now is I need to turn this into a CSV. So I'll just go to Save As, Browse, turn this into a CSV file. And then I'll just go here, Documents, and I'll save that. So now I can go back onto my dashboard and upload my data. So what I just need to do is click on the Upload from CSV button, locate my file, and just wait for my data to flow in. So as you can see, your data has flown in. If once you're okay with this, you can just click this button here to submit, and then the data will flow into the survey. If you've made a mistake, you can just clear all data, and that will basically allow you to reset and re-upload. You can also use the the little arrows here to edit a single row. So instead of deleting everything, if you just made a mistake on one row, you can just click on here and then click on edit. And then we're happy. So I'm just going to click here to submit and just wait for my data to flow in to the survey. So just bear with me, please. Amazing. So you can see that your data has been successfully processed. So my report will load. Perfect. Now, step 3, which is your voluntary leavers log, and the process is exactly the same. If you want to put in your data using the drop-down functionality, you can do so. And if you want to just download the template for easier data input, you could do so. I already have my data here, so I'm just going to select it and let the data flow into my dashboard. I'm happy with it, so I'm just going to click here to submit. Amazing, your data has been successfully processed. So that will just load the report. And then you'll be, once step 3 is done, you'll have access to step 4. So if I just click onto it, here, please just go through the tabs and input any missing data. For example, in disability, in the disability tab, you'll see that if you use the logs, a lot of these fields would already auto-populate with the data that was in your logs. But for like questions like this, yes or no questions, you just need to provide an answer for it. So just go through these tabs and just make sure you're happy with the data. As you're going through them, just make sure that you mark each section as complete, and then that will just put a green tick alongside each tab. So your logs will auto-populate your data all the way up to the company policies tab. From here, you have to complete the rest of the survey manually. So these are yes or no questions. So please choose which one's applicable to you. And just to talk about the pay gap data, if your company has over 250 employees, you're legally required to report gender pay gap data to the government. So you should already have this data available to input into the survey. So please enter available data on gender pay gap, ethnicity pay gap, and disability pay gap. Once all the sections are marked as complete, you can just click Save. And I just want to quickly say something. If you have more than 250 employees, but you don't have your data in a line-by-line format, so you can't do step 2 or 3, please get in contact with us and we can adapt the report to meet your needs. But once all 4 steps are done, you're ready to click Submit. Just hover over it. If there are any issues, you'll see a warning message like this when you hover over the submit button, and it will tell you what the errors are and where they are in your report. After submission, your data will flow into your dashboard. It might take a few seconds, actually a few minutes to appear. So just give it a few seconds. See if it's already come through. So here, you can just look into your and export your data by clicking the indicators. For example, here you can see, if you've reported for previous years as well, you'll just see that year-on-year breakdown, and you have, for example, the industry benchmark here. That you can look at, and also the ONS benchmark as well. You can also select more than one indicator, so you can look at the data and spot trends. Please note, I also just want to say that submitted data is also aggregated at the industry dashboard level, where it is anonymized. Please note that the industry level data will not be visible until January, and this allows time for all reports to be submitted, cleaned, and aggregated. I also do want to mention that this is a paid feature, and if your organization has access to it, you'll receive an email when the data becomes available. So there you have it. You have successfully submitted your report.
Thank you so much for that, Liban. That was great. It was really interesting to watch and easy to follow. And it's good to know that it is quite simple to be able to get your data into the tool, whether you're entering it line by line or whether you're uploading that CSV spreadsheet. And also really great to know that there is help available for you in videos and contacting the team and the FAQ document if you get stuck while you're doing it. Now we just want to talk a little bit about, well, what happens to all of that data? What do you get from it other than the dashboard that Liban just showed? I think this is really important. You would have seen me already put the slide up talking about the current diversity data benchmarking report that's out right now. But if you haven't seen it, you might be interested in some of the highlights from this year's report. We're going to do this really short and snappy. And then hopefully, if you haven't seen the report, you will be encouraged to go and give it a look. And in the resources that come out with this recording, we will definitely provide you a link so that you can go through and look at those insights yourself. But when you're reading the report, here are some of the things you'll be able to see. The first will be a snapshot on gender. So what we know is that the percentage of females in the industry have been declining despite our best attempts to attract women into the industry, but also to retain women in the industry. Now, in this year's survey, women were 24.6%, a decrease for 29.1%. On face value, that might seem really scary, and I just want to pause here a second. That's quite a large decline, and the bulk of that decline is primarily attributed to some incomplete data that we got from a large FM company. If you strip that data out, the actual decline is really only 0.3% rather than that 4.5%, so a bit better. But before we celebrate, that actually is still movement in the wrong direction. So it's not something that we want, and it's also significantly below the ONS working age figure for women, which is 50.8%. So definitely something that we need to be looking at more closely as an industry. Now, moving the spotlight on to ethnic minority representation, so those from the global majority. Progress is being made, so we are up to 15.2%. From 13.6% in 2023. So that's some steady year-on-year progress and a positive sign where it comes to attracting historically underrepresented groups. So progress, yes. However, the challenge is that 15.2% is still off the ONS benchmark of 20.2%. So we still have some work to do here to gain those almost 5 percentage points to be able to match what we're seeing in the wider working force. So still some work to do here. Changing the spotlight a little bit to the LGBTQ plus community. Some good news here as well. We do have an increase in representation here from 2.04% in 2023 to 2.5% in the current year, and it was 1.7% in 2022. So movements upward there, feeling good about that, but still the ONS figures are 3.9%. So we're closer to it, but potentially still some work to be done there as well. I think also important to note that if you exclude that FM company that had the large percentage of unknowns, the increase even goes potentially as high as 0.7%. So that is great. I'll tell you a thing, though, that stood out to me when I was looking at these numbers. Prefer not to say is absolutely a valid choice on every survey, and you would have heard Liban saying that when he talked about the data. Prefer not to say is really the person who's responding saying, I see your question, but I'm opting not to answer it. We have quite a large number of prefer not to says here. There could be many reasons for it, but it could be signaling an issue around safety that we might want to keep an eye on. And you might also like to know that in 2024, 0.05% of employees identified as non-binary or gender non-conforming, which was also an increase on the 0.02% from 2023. In other good news, because this survey is always evolving, moving forward, the survey will offer transgender options alongside the current gender options based on feedback from employees, which is really important and exciting for me to see as well as the head of FAIR. Another key insight for me was around young people in construction and the built environment industry. Let's talk about this a little bit. So, when you compare the age distribution between 2023 and 2024, there really were no significant changes. What's really interesting is that the 25 to 59 age group is overrepresented in the industry. We are at 76.2% in that age range, and the ONS figures are 68.6% in that age group. So that indicates a higher concentration of mid-career professionals within the industry. However, at the same time, there is a decline in employees under 25. So it's down to 7.3% this year from 7.7%, which is concerning. Obviously, our industry is not going to be sustainable if we cannot attract younger talent. So we have some challenges to address when it comes to attracting and retaining younger talent, which is a critical factor for the longevity of the industry and the workforce. Moving forward a little bit again to policies. So I flagged this because there was a brilliant part where Liban was talking and he showed you where you could indicate on the dashboard whether or not you had these policies. We aggregate this information for the industry as well as a whole, so we can see how many people are monitoring diversity and have a policy around it, how many have a reasonable adjustment policy. And those numbers, to me, when I first looked at them, looked low, but then I realized they've actually increased year on year, which is a positive trend. So we're not where we want to be, but improving. We've got flexible working policies, disciplinary and grievance, and bullying and harassment, though, while those numbers look better overall, decreasing year on year. So maybe something else that we might need to think about as an industry and as organizations as we go about making changes. Now, the last thing that I want to flag that's in the report that I thought was especially interesting was this year's information on the makeup of boards. So this was new. It was the first time that we reported on this. So really trailblazing for us and exciting to be able to look at that data for the very first time. I definitely enjoyed the preview. So we had 84 organizations who were able to provide this data for us. And we know that there was 22% women on boards of those reporting, only 6% from minoritized ethnic groups, and only 2% with a disability. So this is something that we are going to have to continue to measure and take a much closer look at, because boards are where decisions are made in the industry. And if they are diverse and more representative of the wider world around us, then boards are able to make better decisions that can help us better reach our diversity and inclusion goals as a sector. Now, what I just shared with you are things that stood out to me personally when I was reading the report. There will probably be many other things that you find particularly interesting, so I do recommend you giving it a read to find those things that are most important for you and also for your organization in the context of the wider industry. I want to stress to you that the industry's diversity data benchmarking report is 100% free, and submitting your data in the way that Liban showed you is also 100% free, as is your access to the dashboard where your data is stored. However, if you wanted to be able to elevate beyond that and get more bespoke insights, there are options for that as well. And I will hand over to Liban to talk you through those. Before I do, though, I just want to stress that we are just happy to have your data. We want as many organizations submitting as possible. Our intention here is not to upsell you, to get you to spend money to do more, but we want you to know that if you wanted elevated reporting options, those are available. Absolutely fine to just submit your data as shown, to access the industry reports, to access your own personal dashboard, which has amazing insights on it. That's absolutely fine. But if you want more, we are going to tell you what that more is. Well, Liban is. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Dana. So a lot of you on this webinar might be wondering how a thorough understanding of your organization's diversity landscape could be harnessed to drive real change. Well, our survey offers two robust paths to do this. And what we're going to do is just explore them and look at how you can leverage the survey to your advantage. So let me just go on to and speak about the internal benchmarking plan. So this is priced at £3,995 per year, and this is an investment to a world of tailored strategies and measurable progress. So with the internal benchmarking plan, you get a tailor-made action plan focused on your unique internal metrics, allowing you to address specific areas within your organization that could benefit from enhanced diversity initiatives. You also get the opportunity to benchmark your performance against your peers, providing you with a competitive edge and understanding of where you stand in the landscape of ED&I. And finally, you get increased visibility through intuitive dashboards that make your diversity data not only accessible, but also actionable. On the other side, we offer the supply chain insights at £6,995 per year, which is an investment in comprehensive understanding and engagement with your suppliers regarding ED&I. So opting for the supply chain insights means you'll benefit from number one, automated data collection from suppliers, which streamlines the process of gathering vital ED&I data. You get the ability to engage suppliers further on the topic of ED&I, fostering a culture of diversity and inclusion throughout your supply chain. And finally, you get empowerment of suppliers to address ED&I through increased visibility of performance, encouraging a symbiotic relationship that champions diversity across the board. So these options will help you in understanding the diversity landscape of your organization and also supply chain, and then help you drive changes.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Liban. It's great to know that everything you get on your dashboard is absolutely free, but that if you wanted more, you could opt for internal benchmarking to give you more detailed insights into your own organization, or the supply chain insights, which would give you insights for the entirety of your supply chain as well as guidance. That's incredible. Now, in terms of timelines for all of this, the survey is live right now and closes on the 31st of July 2025. So please do work on getting your data in. We launch the benchmarking report, the new one, in January typically of the new year. So that will come out in January of next year. We do a massive launch event. It's going to be in London next year. You're invited. It's free to attend. And in that event, we will showcase some of the biggest insights from the report with you. The people who attend that event also get to see those insights before everyone else. Your organization reports and comparators will also be live in January 2026, and the full report itself gets published in February of 2026. So we hold the launch event, and then we take a little bit of extra time to put in some stories and case studies that we would have gotten from the event itself and from others in the industry, and then the entire thing goes live to everyone in February 2026. So a bit of a lag between you submitting in July and getting to find out the insights in January and February, but I promise you it is absolutely worth the wait. Now, if you enjoyed today's session and you would like others in your organization to come along as well to help you on the journey to champion and support the submission of your data, then there are other sessions available. We've got one on the 19th of June from 12 to 1, and then another on the 17th of July from 11 to 12. So please do encourage others in the industry or in your organization itself to attend. And if you're thinking, wow, this fur business sounds really amazing, I want to get in touch with more of that, you should also know that the fur program has its own events coming up. I've pulled a selection of them. We have something called Becoming a Fairness, Inclusion and Respect Ambassador that runs monthly. Fairness, Inclusion and Respect Ambassadors are champions of inclusion in organizations. We have a whole program of activities and communications to support them in their journeys. So you might want to think about that. We have our 2025 Inspiring Change Conference and Awards also coming up in July. This is an in-person event. It is absolutely amazing. In addition to the awards we hand out, like for Inspiration of the Year, SME of the Year, for Innovator of the Year, apply, apply, apply. We also have amazing content like how to lead in EDI in periods of uncertainty, and what are best practices from within the industry and also outside of the industry, and how to take care of yourself as an inclusion practitioner that I wouldn't want you to miss. And if you submit a nomination, which is open now, you might even be an award winner at that event itself. It is Pride Month. We've got Transforming an Industry coming up, which is a webinar featuring trans voices from inside and outside of the industry. And we've got a session on AI coming up in September, thinking about the interactions between inclusion and artificial intelligence and the promises and the pitfalls. We run a wide program of activities across the year, and we would love to see you at some more of those. That's it from us. Thank you for attending today's webinar. If you have any more questions, you can reach Liban personally. His email is on the slide, and you can also reach us at info@sustainabilitytool.com. Please remember that we'll be sharing all of the resources to help you report after your session. They will be attached in an email, so please look out for that. We're also going to include samples of the enhanced reporting that we shared today, as well as the frequently asked questions and links to any resources. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. I hope that it did encourage you to submit your data. As a reminder, the more data we have, the better insights that we get across the industry, and the more targeted action that we can take to increase diversity and inclusion and to make better workplaces for us all. Thank you so much for attending.